Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to TCR. My name is JB, and I'll be taking you through tonight's proceedings, but I'm not on my own. As always, I'm joined by my usual co-commentator, my partner in crime, my golfer that's going to be disappearing off tomorrow. It's Dre. Dre, how are you doing, my friend?
Good, thanks for having us. Good to be back with you, JB. Sorry I missed you guys last week, but good to be back in the booth. How's it going?
It's very well, thank you. It is currently 1:30 in the morning, and I'm back here at TCR. I love Thursdays. It's my favourite day of the week so far.
Yeah, it's great, especially in the middle of the week. We have the Tuesday, we have the silver class where you drive with assists and things like that. They get the first taste here at Spa and the first tracks of the week, and then I get to race in the middle of the week on Wednesday in the golden class, and then I get to hang out with you guys here on Thursday to commentate here. So nice. I get a full spread of the TCR family, especially being part of different roles and capacity on the league here.
It's always fantastic to figure out how happy the TCR family are. Though we're already starting with controversy before we look at the championship standings. We're already starting, much like last week, we started with a grid penalty. This time it's a grid penalty awarded by the stewards themselves. Fatal has been handed a qualifying ban after the incident in Australia last week. I had to remember where we were because I always said Austria. But yes, can you shed some more light on that before we talk about the championship standings?
Yeah, so Fatal, who is in running PC, cannot put a qualified lap in. He's basically in the back of the grid. So last week at Australia, coming on the last few laps when the session was ending, Fatal retired the car, intended to finish his lap. However, Xandamar was coming behind him and did not finish yet. He was still on a fast lap, and unfortunately, due to AI situation, the rules required that if you retire, you must retire in the pits. However, Fatal did not retire. He retired on track and got into a wreck with Xandamar causing him to start in the rear. It did not put a lap in. So Fatal is not allowed to put in a position qualifying lap this race. And I was one of the stewards that made that call. We felt that it was fair since Xandamar was not able to continue his lap.
Well, he impeded his qualifying. There's no other way for it. It's
right.
Giant Johnson Alex go up to P3. Right now, it's an all Red Bull top 3, but let's have a look at the championship standings because I don't think it's that way in the championship now, is it, Dre?
No. So Seafreeze has 2 wins back-to-back, so he has a total of 50 points, and he has the lead by 20 points over Joe Breezy, who's in second, tied with Bad Fast. He also has 30 points. And we have a 2A battle for 4th and 5th, and that's by Xandamar and AA. Unfortunately, Xandamar is not racing today. I didn't see him in there. And P6, we got Portage with 16 points, and P7 tied again with Alex and Be Good Fever with 10 points. P9, we got Go-To Guy with 6 points. iRoll with 4 points. 11th for Lopez with 4 points. GT in 12th with 2 points, Hot Bread with 2 points as well, and the only Fatal in P14 with 1 point. As far as the Constructor Championship, we do got Toro Rosso with Seafreeze in time with 50 points, followed by Renault, Mercedes, and McLaren tied for 3rd. Alfa Romeo 5, Racing Point is 6, Red Bull 7, Haas with their 5 points in P8, Williams and P with 4 points, and then Williams with Ferrari. Ferrari has no points at all in the Constructor Championship, so they desperately need some points today.
Well, they won't be scoring any points today because we have no Ferrari driver on track tonight in TCR.
That's unfortunate.
It really is. But
so the Prancing Hordes will not get any points.
No, it really won't. But one thing I should mention is AA goes up to P3, is that there was actually an update, a visual update, a more cosmetic update to the cars from launch now, so they're all up to date livery-wise, as close as we can get. If we look at the Renault, the rear wing now says Renault E-Tech on it. The most notable change is actually on the Racing Point, though. If we can get a good look on iRoll's nose, if you look, the number has actually, he's going nice and slow for us as well. Look at that. The number's actually been risen up towards the more natural position of where your eyes would look first, down the nose. So that's more realistic. The nose looks better. and it's all just fixed up, and that makes me very happy as a guy who watches these cars for being pretty, as Mr. Psycho-san pops into P3, but still not touching the Toro Rossos at the top.
The Toro Rossos are still number one in the constructors, and obviously Steve Freeze is trying to maintain that top tier position again by starting second. Track position is very key here, because when you get to Raudillon and El Rouge, you're pretty much going to be in single file. So if you're starting to back, about the time you make it a turn 3 or 4, you possibly will be already 3 to 4 seconds behind, just because guys are spreading out and not trying to run into each other through El Rouge. And plus, it's not really an area you can go side by side as well. So track position is very key here, and the Toro Rossos are maintaining that dominance so far. It's only round 3 out of 15, and they are remaining up top there.
I'd love to say Lopez in third tonight, Chad. I really would, but Lopez isn't here tonight, which is quite sad because I like commentating over Lopez. Because I like imagining it's Jose Miguel Lopez from Formula E. But I got to commentate over another Lopez last night, earlier on, so that's fine.
Yeah, and also too, Lopez drives in the Haas, and Fatal is not allowed to put a lap in, so it's going to be a hard way for the Haas to get some points today.
It really is going to be interesting to see who in the engine manufacturer. Oh, big accident though for Porridge. He's out of qualifying. Just a big oversteer moment. Again, the car's biting back with no assists on racing line. Obviously, it was optional, but the Renault is in a wreck in the wall. I would make a joke about current standings, but I won't, surely because obviously I could make a joke about Dale Earnhardt Jr., but I just won't because that actually quite scared me. But yes, you know what we should probably mention? We should probably mention what many of our TCR drivers' steering wheels are using, or what steering wheel drive. Shall I try that again? I'll try that again.
What steering wheel do you think they're using? What steering wheel do you think they are?
I think they might be using a Fanatec steering wheel. This is the most awkward.
I like Fanatec.
I like Fanatec too. Oh god, you can tell us late. Talon goes even faster for P1 with his Fanatec steering wheel. Talon, if you're not using a Fanatec steering wheel, I'm going to beat you for that segue because that was brilliant. Yes, TCR actually... Oh, Badfast is actually beating C-Freeze right now. Where is the championship leader? He's coming through the final stands. I'm not going to get this plug in until the end of qualifying, so I'll get it in a minute. So C-Freeze coming down towards Blanchimont now. Can he beat his teammate? Can he at least make it a P2 to make it a double lockout and possibly give Talon his best chance of the win this season so far? Heading down into the bus stop chicane now, braking hard. No 50 marker board left. Through the chicane now, careful on power, on exit, because you can spin up the tyres. He's derating, DRS open, and he is, in fact, P1!
He gets P1. It! He gets P1! Nice move by C-Freeze. He is staying on top. He has every intention to lock up this championship as soon as possible.
It's only round 3. So, by 800th of a second, C-Freeze takes pole position from Talon in P2, Badfast making it an all-American top 3. Mr. Psycho-san is in P4, AA is in P5, iRoll is in P6, Giant Johnson Alex is in P7. Go-To Guy is in P8, Joe Breezy is in P9, Be Good Fever is in P10 outside the top 10, and Rafi Chargers Lion is in P11, Porridge is in P12, Professional is in P13, Hotbread is in P14, Jones is in P15, and of course Fatal bringing up the rear in P16 with his qualifying ban.
Yeah, a little bit of a short lobby today, but that's okay. We still had the clear majority of our race team here today. We're missing Alexander Mar and Lopez. One of them know off the top of my head, but we've got some others that are out today.
So, shall we try again with this plug?
Oh yes. What steering wheel do you think our drivers are racing with today?
Well, if they are racing with the correct equipment, they should be using the Fanatec steering wheel. Yes, TCR has a Fanatec affiliation. So, if you want to support TCR, make the league grow, make it shiny, make us a nice new comms box, because right now we're sat in a caravan out in the paddock trying to look at different cameras. Be sure to use the link to buy any form of Fanatec project and use the link in the description that will be posted at the end of the stream after it's processed and uploaded. Thank you to all of the TCR admins and everyone who makes this league fantastic and helps make this league as pretty as it is, because it really is a really pretty league, isn't it?
Yes, yes, and this is our Premier League of all of our top drivers in the TCR. So uh, all of our drivers are top tier, and they're really got to use that equipment like Venatech and things like that. So um,
Yeah,
pretty
they're
exciting
platinum
race cars.
drivers who deserve platinum
Yes,
quality equipment.
yes, yes, of course.
Let me write that down. That's next week plug sorted.
Yes, they're platinum for a reason.
We're gonna get so fired at some point for the amount of plugs we can't do. I think we should get
So
paid.
who do you got?
Who do I got? I don't know. Talon was so quick in the first part of qualifying. Did he make a mistake on his first lap? Look, the natural idea would be to go straight for C3s, but I think I'm going to actually suggest that Talon might be the better option today. Crikey, got to remember number of the Toro Rosso. The number 70? Yeah, the 70 car. The 46 car. Maybe he is going to have the better run. Again, it's whoever makes it through La Source first and heads down through Eau Rouge and Radion. We could make that joke, but we will not because that meme has been dead for years. But look at the top four, though. It's team by team.
Yeah. Yes, so you got the Toro Rosso or the Mercedes. I'm going to go with one of the Mercedes drivers. I'm going to go with Fast in fourth. He's always been up there, and he's sitting, I believe, fourth in the points right now. And so he's definitely been up there in the top tier finishes. And maybe he could find a vulnerability among the Toro Rossos and try to get ahead of them.
But then again, the Toro Rossos have got Honda power, which is showing off to be the better engine so far in TCR. Then again, Joe Breezy won with Renault power last year, and he then moved to a team that still had Renault power.
Yeah, Seafreeze is he's starting ready to finish. In first, he has 2 runs in a row. He's going for that third, and he's going to try to lock this championship up. It's great run to see them.
Hasn't he? He's got to share the top step at some point.
Well, his seatbate's knocking on the door certainly because he's right there, but I think the Mercedes have something to say about that, and certainly the other drivers as well. We'll see what happens. Eau Rouge is going to be difficult, even though these are pretty experienced drivers. But we've seen on Tuesday and Wednesdays, drivers lose it, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see some today.
Do remember that this is the closest Talon has been to Seafreeze all season long, barring letting him through under different strategies. This is going to be a straight race between the Toro Rossos as we head towards 5 red lights. I really do think Talon might have something up his sleeve today, as now we get the lights on. We're going up to 5 red lights here in Spa. The lights are out, the drivers are away. Now it's a good start from Talon, from Seafreeze though, but a bad start. Talon's dropping behind the Mercedes if he's not careful. The racing point starting fast, and the Mercedes almost colliding into going through the source, heading towards it. There's a few bumps and scratches between the Williams drivers at the back as AA drops behind Iroll. Now heading toward, look at that! Someone skimming the wall on the way down to Eau Rouge and Radion, and they're all sliding through. There's a big slide from the Red Bull. It's actually Breezy. No, it's Bad Fast. It's Bad Fast in the wall at Eau Rouge. The top of the hill, and I tell you what, can I just be a little bit smug for a second there, because my guy's still in second.
I feel terrible for Bad Fast because he was one of my top guys to go for, but we have already seen some moves. Joe Breezy is already started back, and he's a mover. He likes to come through the field, so I think this is where he works best, is working his way up through the field. He's already making some moves. He was side by side in Eau Rouge with Alex, so those two guys in P7, P8, we'll probably see them towards the front at the end of this race.
Heading back towards the end of the field, we're looking at the professional in the Red Bull who's jumped by Hot Red, who's having a very good start. He's normally traditionally fast off the start, but he will struggle later on in the race. He is on the medium compounded tyres, though. But Iroll and AA having an absolute fantastic battle already, as actually it's Go-To Guy attempted to make a move where there really wasn't a move there. Where there really was a space, and he's coming under pressure from the current champion in Platinum of Joe Breezy. Remember, that wall we just passed can stick out. If drivers can hit that, they're in a bit of trouble. As you see, Breezy is trying to defend from Giant Johnson Alex. This is 3 cars and 3 drivers that do want to get through this field quickly, aren't they?
Yeah, so he's trying to make the move on the outside of Go-To. Let's see if he can get it done. I think he's going to get his cut back. Here comes Alex. He's going to go his way. He gets it through.
Alex is
so
trying
Go-To
to
loses 2 positions. Oh, he's going to go for all of
Sector
it.
3 is Jones. It's Jones who has had an accident at Sector 3. He's broken his front wing after powering out the corner too fast. And Joe Breezy now, and Alex Johnson going too wide towards Rouge and Radion. Who's going to bail out? Neither of them, and they go side by side. And they're still side by side up the hill.
Side by side.
Oh! As he calls
There's
it,
Alex.
He's back in traffic, and it's contact between the Red Bulls.
The Red Bulls make contact, and Fatal is out. Fatal is out.
Professional is out. Fatal's still going.
Oh, Professional. Okay, sorry about that.
And a 5-second stop-and-go penalty for Giant Johnson Alex for a severe collision with his teammate. There's nothing he could have done there. He was a passenger.
No.
In real life, he would have had his hands off
that.
the steering wheel and praying. He's actually in AI mode right now. So maybe he's feeling so distraught that unless he's hurt himself with his steering wheel, that's a very big possibility, because that was a big smash, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that was absolutely insane. I got completely confused there because there was so much going on and people falling through the field there, but
he seems to be back in control, unless he was at that point clipping something on his PlayStation to make sure that he was fine. That was a complete racing is just bad.
Oh, he loses it again. He loses it again.
Well, his car's going to be incredibly damaged. His tires are going to be really hot. But he's going to feel so bad as the Red Bulls have come together, and you got to feel for them, especially the Professional, who was there's nothing you could have done. I've been in that situation.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere.
Either of them could have done. The worst part is the Professional was already trying to go wide as well, as you see Porridge making a move on trying to make a move on Be Good Fever, with Be Good doing his best job in the racing point to defend himself. As the Renault comes charging towards the line, now DRS, that incredibly powerful tool in Formula 1, has been activated. And I feel like we've sort of been robbed of a battle between the Red Bull drivers today after that collision.
Well, I hope the drivers learned the lesson that you cannot go side by side there without someone losing it. It's just really difficult. And we just witnessed it just a lap ago.
I think they can.
Oh, and the Williams!
It's
hot bread.
Again, if you step offline at Rouge and Radio, you're fine. Mr. Psycho-san has dropped a position, though, to AA in all of this, and Be Good Fever, the other Renault, also making moves on a Mercedes-powered car. Johnson's in the pit lane, obviously that would be excused. Jones in the pit lane as well, for a broken front wing. But if you look at it, you can actually go side by side through Rouge and Radio, but you have to be aware of where the car is. You have to be very respectful, but it is millimeter perfect. It really is millimeter perfect.
Some of our top
Goju Guy catching the curb at Puon, which almost sent. Well, I could make the crude joke of Puon his suit, but you know what, I will. Almost sent his white suit a little bit brown, but he's fine there. He'll learn now not to go too far at that curb. But the battle at the top is coming down.
Yeah, so we're already seeing the leaders developing a gap. Though Talion is within DRS range of Seafreeze, he has not let him go. However, AA is out of DRS range, and he's almost a little over 2 seconds behind.
Oh, Talon!
And
he's
Talon got a little
brakes there, or was that a little bit?
Yeah, it's confidence, but almost lost his front wing, so he's got the DRS range. And
virtual safety car has been deployed. We have a virtual safety car in this race, and we will cycle through the field and try and find out why.
I think it's Alex. I think he DNF'd somehow somewhere.
He is out of the session. He's left the session.
Yeah, he has left the session. Yes. Yeah.
Now I want to take a second just to look at the race director very quickly. Was it terminal damage? It was terminal damage. So where was it? Because I don't think he's crashed himself out. Because from what I know, that's illegal to do that. But at the same time, Hotbread's doing this at a perfect time to pit. He will have a free pit stop right now. But I wonder if it was at the end of pit lane.
Well, Alex did. The last thing he did, he exceeded track limits, so it might have went off track and lost it again at some point. I'm not sure.
I'm going to take on the assumption that he has made that connection with the wall. Hopefully someone has picked up on what happened as we go back to green flag racing here in Spa. And it's a brilliant start from Mr. Psycho-san, who's now on the back of AA in the Renault, who really wasn't ready as Hotbread does drop down a third position. So the two retirements we have in the first 4 laps of this race are the two Red Bulls of the Professional in a very spectacular way, and Giant Johnson Alex, who well, we don't know what happened to him. It's very real
driver I'm keeping an eye on. I'm keeping an eye on is GT.
Yeah.
He's starting near the rear of the field. He's now in the points paying position. So with all those DNFs and people losing the back, he's able to move up a little bit. So he was battling with his teammate until Hotbread spun out, but he's been slowly but surely moving up. He's now in a points paying position.
It's a very real possibility that that Alex could have hurt himself with his steering wheel snapping after that big incident. So
well, that's a possibility, but we'll pass it on to the stewards and see what happens. But until we get some footage, we'll see what happens.
I'm talking IRL in real life at this point because the steering wheel will have kicked, and that could have really hurt.
Oh yes.
But yeah, so he could have done that. I don't even know if he's a steering wheel user, but that's a shame because he was a very quick driver in this event, and he just has not had the luck since moving to Red Bull in this season, has he?
No, and he's a former champion, so I believe season 6, if my memory serves me correctly. But unfortunately, not the season for him, and I don't think he has much points either.
He's had some really tough races. He DNF'd in Bahrain, I know that, and Australia. I think he struggled a lot more. But if this is 3 DNFs on a trot, maybe we'll be looking to be replaced by Alexander Albon in soon.
We'll see.
I had to try. I had to find a way. The professional leaving the session. There's probably words between those two already, and it's probably Alex apologising so much. But to be honest, I've seen on stream we couldn't do anything. We are probably going to end up just talking about that Red Bull crash all the way through. So that was a horrendous accident.
Yes. What I might keep my eye on is battle for P7. We got 7th, 8th, and 9 all right there in the spread there. So once we get back in DRS range, I wouldn't be surprised if Go2, Portage, and Fever gets in a tight battle there.
I wonder if Go2 guy's starting to feel it on his tyres a bit. He did race very hard for that P7 in the first 5 laps. His tyres looked to be struggling. The amount of oversteer and understeer would be
runs wide there. Here comes Portage on the move on the outside.
Wow, that's commission.
Sends in a little bit, had to cut back. Not going to be able to go, but it was a good move by Portage. Let him know that he's there and that he's vulnerable.
I'm actually going to go on board with the Renault of Portage as we go up towards Rouge and Radion, see what type of line he takes. He's obviously got to look behind him at the racing point as well, but staying on board with the Renault as he comes up, he's going to try and, look, you see him just backing off just that little bit to try and not have the dirty air of Go2 guys to come up. iRoll's had a major mistake. iRoll has actually made a major mistake, and he's now under pressure from these guys because he lost the rear end at the hill, and now he's trying to defend.
iRoll.
Yeah, iRoll.
Too wide.
Lost the rear end.
Maybe 3 wide here? No?
No, not yet. He lost the rear end right up the top of the hill, and I thought that I saw that car going in at an odd angle before Breezy overtook him, but that's really, really going to suck for the Canadian driver.
We got Biga, the other racing point has come on the back one, so we got a nice little pack here, battling for P7s.
3 different engines.
And they're all in DRS range, so it's really difficult to get away from someone, especially if you're in the DRS position. The guy's in DRS position behind you. Hotbread. I think he finally retired. I think he got in an incident earlier.
I'm not
sure.
He span and he broke his front wing.
Yes.
I think he's retired at Rouge and Radion. But if we look now towards the front, the battle at the top is coming down, but that Sector 1 yellow flag is going to really hurt these guys as they run into the start-finish straight. If the yellow flag has been retrieved in, back to green flag racing in this sector, DRS will open on one Toro Rosso. The other one is so quick in a straight line. It's just really hounding his teammate, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, and he's staying within DRS range, which he should, because he gets to save some of his ERS by sticking and tucking the back of Seafreeze, and Seafreeze is in the position to have to use up a lot of the stuff just to keep up. But we're coming up to pit stops. The ideal pit stop would be the next lap or so, either lap 8 or lap 9, and if my memory serves me correctly, they're going to go into the medium tires. And it's going to be interesting for Seafreeze and Italian because they're in the same pit, so usually the leader or whichever driver's up front of the team gets the preferred pit. So we'll see what happens if they may have talked it out or if team order is going to come down. But pit's going to be soon, and that overcut doesn't always help, because I tried to pull it off yesterday and it didn't do too much well for me.
I think what will probably happen with that is that Talon will decide, right, if he pits, then I won't pit. If he does pit, if he doesn't pit, then I will pit. It's a very simple answer to that one. He doesn't care about the team at this point. He wants to win the race. Thank you, Anna Tony, for saying that you're enjoying the commentary. I always try my best whenever I'm here at TCR. They give me a nice home in the States, but I roll again. Another oversteer moment for the racing point, and again, more cars struggling on traction as he now drops behind his teammate. It was all on his own as well.
You could see him really falling back. He lost out to 2 drivers there, and here comes GT. He might have some type of damage because GT is coming on pretty fast. You know, if you lose an end plate here, it's pretty bad because your car is almost entirely dependent on downforce, especially getting through El Rouge and other places. And Mr. Psycho Sane loses out to Joe Breezer for P4, and they're battling side by side.
Who's got the more punch?
Going into the cross line to turn 1.
But look at that, Porridge actually. Porridge into pit lane now. But I roll. I mean, I'm not going to be harsh. I think probably if he looked back on this race, and I hope that he'd agree with me. Right now, with the style with what's happening, he looks like an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, that's likely to happen, especially on these. A lot of the top drivers are on their softs, and if you look back a little bit further, some drivers on the medium, so they can go a little bit further, maybe 3 or 4 more laps, and then try to switch on to another set. On a different set, but it might be working. It's kind of interesting that Portage is going to do the undercut here. He's going to go a lap early and try to get that, but we'll see how it all pans out.
Williams' fate for points all hang on the top of a particular giant cat. That is Lion, the driver in P9 currently, is looking. He's in a good position, because remember, he's on the alternate strategy. He will be going to the medium to the hard tyres much later than all of these drivers that are looking towards the hard tyres in the next couple of laps. Lion, Beagle has made a mistake.
Yes, he runs wide and he's going to lose it out to his teammate.
And Lion's thinking, right, I've traded one Stroll machine for the other one.
Those softs, they need to get off those softs pretty fast. Lap 8, 9 is about the furthest you could take them. And for GT, since he's on the medium, he can actually go to maybe 14 laps. Talion, he's lost out a little bit to Seafreeze there.
I wonder if he's had a half spin or something. That's a big gap. Seafreeze into pit lane, and there it is. There's the call from Talon. I can't pit, so I've got to go one more.
Here comes Double A. Joe Breezy stays out. Cycle Sane in.
I think iRoll is going to pit. I think iRoll's going to be the driver to pit rather than Be Good, and Be Good is. And if you looked at that, such a greatly telegraphed, as much stick as I give iRoll, fantastic driver. I couldn't do any of the driving he does. Just independent. Sector 2 and 3, we have a yellow flag. Who is it? It's who is it?
It's Jones.
It's C3. No, it's not. It's Jones. I do apologise. I don't know what I'm on about. I'm drunk.
Jones in the McLaren takes a little spin. He needed to get off of those tires. I wouldn't be surprised he come in this lap. Hopefully he doesn't have any wing damage, but I think he'll be fine. Just trying to maintain. He got into an early incident in the race and trying to make it to the end.
Yeah, as much stick as I give iRoll, just to finish that statement, he's a much better driver than I could ever be, because I couldn't do any of this driving the way he does with the no assist and everything. But the way he telegraphed the point to his teammate that he was going to pit lane this lap by staying to the inside was beautiful between teammate conversations. I don't know if they have conversations in party or not, but that was just amazingly telegraphed.
Yeah, so he certainly made a point there. You gotta let people know.
Oh, most definitely. It's a non-verbal driver conduct, normally done with hand gestures, but those hand gestures aren't very well pleased. But I just want to draw your attention again to my aesthetic look as we go on board with Fatal in the Haas, the lone Haas driver. I love the fact that we got the little driver's number on the halo now.
Oh yes, that's nice. 42.
Love it. It's just little things in my life I like. But now this should be a pretty simple move for C3, but he's got to think about it soon. Remember, these guys are not pitting at this point in time. Talon does pit this lap. AC3 is being held up by
JT's blocking. C3 makes a move on the outside. Looks like he gets it cleared.
Again, it's a situation where he's in trouble because he's come out right in the middle of traffic. He's got to clear this traffic. Right now, Talon...
Italian's in the pit.
He's just been released.
C3 already gets ahead.
He's lost so much time. Look how much time he's lost.
Oh, yes.
He's got
He has
two cars
two
between them.
midfield cars right in front. Yeah.
Oh, and they're not stopping for a couple more laps. That's going to really hurt Talon's chances, especially through here. Cold tyres. He's fine though through Eau Rouge and Radion.
I would say that's at least a second. Now he has 3 cars between Seafreeze and Talon.
Worst part is they're battling as well. Look at this. This is not going to help Talon at all. He's going to be punching his steering wheel. Guys, how did you not? It's raining! Go on,
oh, I do see a few raindrops. Do see a few raindrops here. Now that will shake up the race toward the end. Maybe not now, but within 5 to 10 minutes, that was certainly... And it's come down a lot faster than I expected.
Do you know the worst part is, though? Seafreeze,
What's that?
Double A. These drivers have all just pitted. The race has just been handed possibly to Go-To Guy, Breezy, or even the current medium runners, Fatal or Lion. They will be in the best position coming into the wet weather because they can run those tyres, hopefully, until intermediates come out.
If I was GT and Fatal, I will actually stay out and go maybe another 4 to 5 laps if their tires are capable of doing it, just to see how fast the weather changes. Because if it does change really rapidly, I would just go straight on to the intermediates. But we'll see. I don't know what the weatherman has been, Jeff is telling them on the weather, but there's definitely some rain coming down.
Breezy's in. Now, it's too early for intermediates, way too early, unless it just hammers it down in the next few minutes. Let's have a look.
I think this is Breezy's actual pit stop. He's not putting...
No, they're intermediates.
They're into... That is a... I don't think that's a good decision.
No, because look, Mr. Psycho Science is the fastest. Same with Go-To Guy. They've both taken... Well,
Go-To, he put the intermediates on as well.
Yeah, I think they've had to take this risk, haven't they?
It has come down pretty fast.
They knew their tyres weren't going to make it to the end. Let's see what Badfast does. Badfast continues on. Jones as well. Well, I'm going to stay on board with him. But I think that they've just completely destroyed their race. A bad call. Oh no! Double A into the barrier! He's had a big accident on the Camel Straight! He's going to make contact with Breezy if he's not careful. Wow. Just clipped onto it. He's got to get out of the way. He's going to make contact. There was contact there. And Double A's out of the race. And you can only blame yourself. He was too impatient there. He was not. He didn't see if the track was clear.
He reversed and came back onto the track and properly.
Yeah, the Hungarian-Canadian driver could be under scrutiny coming into next week's race. I think we're at Silverstone, aren't we?
I believe so.
Yes.
And he's parked in the middle. He's clearly, wrecked right there in the middle by that Renault, yes.
But right now, look at it. Again, no safety car, though. I mean, how crap's that? It was genuine.
So Seafreeze has inherited the lead.
But for how long?
And
that's the question. I mean, look at Breezy.
He's on those fresh mediums
behind someone who is running. Yeah, there's no way in hell. Unless this is a light shower, there's no way in hell that this is intermediate weather. Yeah, yes, they can step out. Yes, they're going to have a bit slidey, but it's definitely at the crossover point. It's really until the rain starts to settle properly on the cars. Bigger Fever losing out to Lion. Remember, Lion is on the better tyres in these conditions. The harder compound tyres working better in the wet. Fatal and Be Good.
So we got Be Good and Fatal in the pits. Let's see what they put on.
Joey said Joe's to stay out in the rain. I'm on board with Be Good.
I would stay out as well.
Intermediates for both these drivers for Racing Point and the house.
Intermediates.
The 28 car is still going to come out in front as we look at Talon, who is actually behind Lion. Again, the medium compounded tyres is a better compound because they work better in the cooler conditions. They passed that stricken Renault. The marshals would have cleared it up.
Italian making a move on GT. GT just trying to maintain. He's not really fighting. His tires are much older. He just want to get through until there's a crossover point, until there is necessary for the intermediate tires.
The Williams.
And he still has.
This, is he?
He still has about a half a second on Cyclosync, but 10 seconds on Portage. So he's still in a pretty good position.
I think the worst thing, though, is look at the gap now between the Toro Rossos.
Yes.
6 seconds.
I'm
going to lose this bet. This is not fair. Jones into pit lane now. I think Jones has had an accident. Let's have a look at the McLaren.
Yes, he's gone on intermediates as well.
The 45 car. Let's go on board with Psycho-san, who is trying to make a move on Lion. But again, it's such an interesting pool.
even Seafreeze, everyone is going much slower off the pace. It might be getting close to that crossover point.
Because Psycho Sad overtaking the Williams, but a British car cannot stay behind it, and DRS has been disabled.
DRS is disabled. Go on the intermediates. They should go on the intermediates now.
I don't think that should be really in the game, in fairness, if you know what I mean. It should be, if DRS is disabled, that isn't normally the call to go on intermediates, is it? It's normally the call of, oh, are your tyres all right? Yeah, just keep going then.
Seafreeze into the pits now.
Are they going to
Italian, he's still out.
They're
going to double stack it. They have to.
Yeah.
Followed by Mr. Psycho Sane, and here comes GT.
No, Talon's damaged his car in pit lane. He lost the rear end in pit lane, and he has a broken front wing. This has just absolutely screwed me out of a bet. Thanks, Talon.
So Breezy, what we thought made the bad decision, is going to inherit the lead. I thought that was a pretty early on decision to come into pits, but
not yet. Well, he hasn't got the lead yet.
Not yet. Seafreeze. But Breezy, he's a charger, man. He knows how to go to the field. He certainly has a shot at this.
He's now got a target. The McLaren has a target in front of him, and he knows what he can do. So, last season's champion versus the current championship leader. Why is this in Formula 1? On board with Fatal, as Be Good Fever is trying to make a move, trying to defend from the Haas. The Haas trying to go around the outside the 42 car. As shown by the Halo.
Italian's fighting in P6. He lost out to Mr. Psycho Sam, Fatal, and Be Good. It must not be really good for him for starting in P2. But Seafreeze, under 2 seconds on Joe Breezy. But Joe Breezy tires have been off a couple laps, so they're a little bit more ingrained with the track than Seafreeze fresh tires.
Now, I wonder, is it coming down heavy enough to even speculate about full extreme wet tyres, the blue tyres that we might be seeing? Because it is coming down pretty hard.
Yeah, we got about 10 laps left, so I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case, but they're certainly backing off. They're not going through those fast corners as much. And on these wet conditions, if you step out on the track or get on these rumble strips where you want, your car can be spun around instantly.
I actually went karting a few weeks ago on a drying track, and it was a very different experience that I've ever had. Most difficult experience I've ever had driving anything motorized. Especially on cold tires, it was so difficult.
But yeah, this track depends entirely on downforce, and if you just snap it and oversteer it once, it's over.
So, who is gonna? I think at this point the racing's slightly muted because there's no DRS to help them. But now it's who's quicker in these conditions. Remember, all these drivers, some drivers might not have been expecting this rain shower, so they might not have been able to adapt their strategy or their setups to match the wet. They might all be driving on tyres or on setups that are suited for the dry, low downforce for this section, but a little bit more downforce for the rear part of the circuit.
Right, and someone I'm actually keeping an eye on, it's Fatal, who started P16. He wasn't allowed to qualify at all.
Guy at the top of the hill, he managed to catch that aggressively. Sorry to interrupt you, I just had to broadcast that.
Oh, no worries. But Fatal, who started last in 6.6, is now up to P4 and looking at possibly on the podium there. He's only under a second on Be Good.
This will be a good question to see who is going to be at the top of the field. You could theorise that it's going to be Seafreeze, but remember, Seafreeze can have a chink in his armour. Maybe the wet conditions in this race is the chink in his armour that he's been looking for.
But so far, Seafreeze is extending his lead on Breezy so far. It was under 2 seconds, now it's 2.4 seconds now.
Do you know what the R in TCR stands for?
I'm sorry, say that again, Quinn.
Do you know what the R in TCR stands for? You got it. You got the joke, didn't you? Right there.
Yes, sorry about that.
Trinity competitive raining.
Yes.
It's just a simple joke. You get so much fun in that. Anyway, I'm going to look at C3 for a second now. Because remember, he doesn't have to push very hard. He knows that these conditions are going to be tricky. The driver that will be pushing hard and be more prone to mistakes will be Breezy in P2. I don't know what's going to happen in this race, but I want to look at Talion because he's an accident himself. Talon has still got that broken front wing.
I think he's just going to muscle through it.
Yeah, he
Here
opted not to
comes
have it repaired.
go-to. He's losing time, certainly. It's bleeding his time right at the moment.
Yeah, he's got no
But
rear
losing out on that
traction.
pit twice today. You have to think about twice. He lost out on the pit option to Sea Freeze.
He's got
Once
willpower
when
left
they
right now, isn't
on
he?
the dries, and then when on the wets to intermediate. So he certainly lost out to that in a pretty unfortunate way.
He's got the willpower luck right now, isn't he? His teammate's winning
And
everything.
Fatal is going to make a move on Biga for P3. Not quite there, but then Biga loses the back end.
I think there was a bit of contact there.
I think Biga just lost the back end there. I didn't see anything from my angle, but Fatal is making a move for the podium.
He wants it, doesn't he? He wants it after that. I mean, I don't know if he deemed it unfair, his qualifying ban, but it'd be great to hear what he has to say after the race.
Yeah, and GoTo is still trying to get Talion, but Talion, he's maintaining. He's maintaining.
I think Talon's just worked out that he knows where he needs to stop, knows where he's weak in the last couple of laps. I think Blanchimont, the final run down towards the chicane, is the biggest weak point for the Toro Rosso right now. He seems to be able to muscle through everything else, but I think such a high-speed section is really difficult. I tell you what, I don't think we're a million miles away from seeing the extreme wet tyres. The intermediates, the spray's coming up, isn't it?
It's much more water on the track this time around, and so I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see a line kind of forming, and we'll see much more wet. But I think the intermediates are still good for the moment. I will take it to the end right now, even though we have about 7 laps to go. We'll just maintain unless it comes down much harder.
Yeah, unless it does improve, it will be the intermediate tyres towards the end. Let's have a look at Talon actually, because then he has broken away from the Alfa Romeo. So much he's worked out. Well, impressive there that he's worked out in 1 lap where so many of the issues with the car were. So he's able to change it and fix it. He's incredible driving there from the Toro Rosso driver.
Yeah, and I think everyone's just at this moment just trying to survive. A lot of people are building. Talion got a 3-second time penalty. They're just trying to keep the car on the track and not wreck out. But Mr. Psycho-San made a very mistaken El Rouge, and now Talion's catching up to him pretty fast right now.
Porridge also with a time penalty in P9. But yeah, Psycho-San, I saw he was going slow. I think he just had a moment where he had to take to the runoff area to make sure that he didn't wreck his car, as his teammate hasn't either. Well, his teammate had an accident, I think, earlier on.
Right. So right now, if I was driving these wet conditions, I would just keep to the car and make sure not to get off on the track. And if an opportunity comes for a driver lucks out, there'll be an opportunity for a pass. But right now, just maintain and try your best. We've got about 6 laps to go here.
Yes, it's a very, very interesting race this has turned into. Now, by now, if I was driving, I would have turned my differential all the way down to 50%. So there's a little bit more control on the throttle, so I can just sort of hammer it out the corners and just hope that the car doesn't slip away, as Talon's just did as he runs up towards Blanchimont now. It's interesting the different lines that people are taking as well, isn't it?
Yeah, one thing I've learned is that if you can take it wider, you can put more into the throttle, and then instead of cutting it short like on the regular race line, and then possibly spinning out. That's something I've learned at certain tracks, but it's not everywhere. But Italian's catching back up to Mr. Psycho saying, I think he made another mistake there. But getting out of the corners is difficult.
Yeah. It's like in qualifying at the final corner here. You're sort of meant to go slightly like towards you going to pit lane, then snap back onto track. Because that is... Oh,
Italian! Almost lost the back end there. Here comes GoTo.
We need to stop.
Is he trying to make the move now?
Don't we?
I think he's got to wait until he's on the on the back stretch there to try to make a move on Italian. Italian does have a 3-second time penalty from the last lap, so
does
he might...
Guy, though. Go-to guy gained 1 all the way through that. I think he ran wide at Blanchimont. But you see that Talon had a big oversteer moment where the rear end stepped out and he just kept his foot in. That's full NASCAR driving right there. Oh, I've lost the rear end, just power through it.
It's going to drift through the corners, huh?
To be fair, I think they're more like boats right now. The wings have just like gone down to be rudders, but you can visibly see the rains coming down. I think that we're really not too far away from seeing the extreme wet tyres. And that, again, will screw Talon, because it still won't help him with that front wing.
And Seafreeze is extending his lead, is now 2.7 over Joe Breezy.
Let's be real here. Seafreeze is ordering his dinner right now. He's sat there, he's got the screen up on his phone, and he's looking at, trying to work out what he wants for tea. Do I want Thai food? No. Do I want Indian? No. What do I want? McDonald's? Yeah, well, I don't like that. TCR is other fast food joints are available.
That's awesome. But they have a pretty big distance from second to third. It's about 10 seconds.
I wonder
and Fatal's still trying to catch down Be Good.
I wonder if at this point Breezy is just thinking, you know what, I'm happy with second place. I qualified outside of the top 10, or just inside the top 10. I'm happy. I'm fine with that.
I'll be satisfied with that as well.
Ooh,
we got another.
Lion had a big
lost it back in there.
And there you see.
I think he's trying to catch up to this pack here with for P7 to P6 because they have time penalties. So if he stays within 3 seconds, which he is, for Go2, he can inherit that position. But he's got to keep it on the track and keep it going. But here comes Portage behind him, so he's trying to catch up. But then at the same time, Portage is trying to make a move on him as well.
Oh, it's Go2 going.
Oh, and that's Go2. Go2 lost it back in.
Go2 the
and
wall.
El Rouge.
Go to the wall at Eau Rouge. So that's that battle over, and I think, to be honest, that's points over for the Canadian driver.
And Bad Fast on the first lap spun out, may get 1 point after all of this is said and done.
I think, to be honest,
and Go2 takes a long way around.
You might end up with more than 1 point, to be honest, because Lion and Porridge are getting closer by the second, and Talon as well. Oh, is that going to be a late safety car? He's lost it somewhere on board with Jones now to see if we can find out where that accident was. But Go2 guys, he's out of the race.
Is now retired from the race.
See if we can find out. We know we're just looking at a driver at the back, just to see if we can see that Alfa Romeo anywhere. There are the yellow flags. He's gone.
I think he went straight on. Yes, I think he was frustrated with his race.
In fairness,
just make an assumption.
In these conditions, it could just be that he missed his braking point and couldn't turn. He had no front wing. Or he could have just gone, I've had enough of this, and Alfa Romeo can pay for a new front wing. It's definitely time for those extreme wet tyres. I think in these conditions, I wouldn't risk it. If I had a gap,
it's coming down much harder now.
If I had a gap, I'd try it.
But you got 3-4 laps to go. Would you risk it? 3-4 laps to go?
I would. With 11 drivers left in the race, I would just think, you know what, points, but I need to finish this race at this point. Let's see what the leader's
Italian.
The leader's looking like.
Less than a second under Mr. Psycho Sane. And so is Portage on GT.
I'm very biased right now because GT is a Lion and I like cats, and he's driving a Williams and I like a Williams. Fatal and
Italian.
Psycho-san. Italian, you are right. See, so at least someone's got a brain in this commentary booth.
Italian, he's coming up on Mr. Psycho Sane for P5. But he's playing it smart. He's going to wait till the right moment.
He can't dive. And look at how much spray. We're on board with him now. The camera, you just can't see anything.
It is. Driver's going really slow now. And also, too, the best thing about it, you get to save so much ERS and save so much fuel that you just dump everything on the straightaways. But then when you get in the corner, you're just going so slow.
Porridge was saving the day, well, almost saving the day there as he catches the rear end as it slides out of him from the corner heading towards oh shit, pardon my French there, lost the chat on my phone. I can't go from that. I can only apologise. I'm going to get a spanking later from Steve Freeze. But nonetheless, these conditions are treacherous. Right at the top of the circuit, it's right when you're following a driver. At this point, you've got to really hope your memory of the circuit is as good as you think it is. Remembering the braking zones, remembering the turning points, because you won't have those little sighting things you see.
Right. Right, yeah, it's certainly going to be much more difficult. You got to brake early and watch your braking, not to slide into the corners and things like that. So, like, each lap, you got to kind of start all over. Okay, here's how things work. And GT went wide, and here comes Portage on the inside. GT's not giving up. Oh!
There didn't
Little
look to be
contact there.
There might be there. Whew. I don't think GT even went that wide. I think he had to lift off. But look at this. This is proper monsoon weather. This is proper Spa weather right here as they come through turn 1. Heading on to for the 20th time out of 22. This can only end in disaster right here as there's a bit of lag. I can only apologise. If these two are this close together, coming into Eau Rouge, they can't see. There's dirty air involved. Something's going to happen. And it has happened. GT Lion had to take to the runoff area at the end of a straight, and now Porridge will make the move on the Williams. My heart is hurting because I'm seeing a Williams drop down a position. But at the same time,
I don't think he got any penalties for that. He didn't get any penalty for that.
He might have been able to lift off, so he wouldn't have accelerated through it, but he might have got a warning.
I see.
But look at the spread.
Seafreeze is still running away with this race.
What does it take to get this guy off the pace? He's on rails right now. He's basically a Scalextric's car.
Yeah, I can see.
Sector 1.
Oh, we got another.
It's not Jones. It's not Jones. It might have been Jones. He might have had a half spin.
All is good at the moment.
Back on board with Lion. I think Lion is just going to think, right, I'll take P8. I mean, wouldn't you? Breezy's
hopefully
definitely struggling
not the other
right now.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
I think Joe Breezy is definitely struggling in P2. But actually, I think Seafreeze has had a monumental slow run through the chicane, which has brought it down. But onto the penultimate lap of the race right now. The 22 car still leads. Will this be the hat trick of wins over 3 different tracks in 3 very different races? A night race, as Go2Go leads the session, a night race, a street race, and now a wet race. Is Seafreeze about to take on another win to his cabinet at Toro Rosso? Whew. These drivers are really struggling in these conditions.
Yeah, I'm right on board with iRoll. He's catching up to GT. He's under a second now, so he might be in position, but he runs wide in turn 1. So we're coming up the second to last lap here. I won't be surprised if iRoll gets in the rears of GT for a move here, but we'll see what happens. We'll just stay aboard.
Oh, he's wide!
Oh, but iRoll runs wide.
Wow, he's really struggling up there, isn't he?
Yeah, that corner is difficult, especially in these conditions.
You did bring an umbrella, didn't you? Because I don't really want to get wet leaving the conflux.
we're staying dry at the moment, but I'm pretty sure a lot of these drivers are pretty soaking wet in their sweat just to get around the track and handling their steering wheel and stuff. But I can imagine it being difficult. They're probably hands hurt. They're probably really tired to get through these last few laps here.
See, I've driven in. Oh, Jones with 3-second time penalty as well. I've driven in conditions not like this when I've been karting, but I've driven in them when it's been winter, and that's no fun when you're driving because you have to basically peel your hands off the steering wheel.
Oh man,
it's so cold. Honestly, the Formula E drivers had it in Saudi when they went there at the end of last year. They were driving and it was so cold that their hands were like locked in the gripped position on the steering wheel.
Wow. I cannot imagine driving in those conditions. But right now, pretty spread pack here. I think everyone's just trying to survive here at the moment, the last few laps here. And we're now on the final lap here with Seafreeze.
Only a few more times to negotiate this track, and that is one massive challenge out of it, but it's not the only one on this road. I wonder how many times they've been called into pit lane. Go for the extremes, go for the blue tyres, but still sticking with those green intermediate tyres.
And Seafreeze has made it.
Woo.
Seafreeze has taken the lead, and it's all he's able to do 2 stops while Joe Breezy, Fatal, and Be Good. They only did that 1 stop. So did GT.
Oh, so... iRoll's out. iRoll losing the rear end in the dirty air, and that's sadness. Sadness for the man who really looked like he was going to get some points today. But if it's any consolation, which it really will not be, at least you made it this far.
Yes, which is unfortunate. Crashed on the last lap. on these conditions, I would be frustrated. But that also means if Jones could get around, he'll get 1 point. So that'll be a good run for Jones, the golden class former champ.
Yeah, he's really struggling this season, not enjoying the adaptation to the 2019 McLaren TCR have bought. Let's have a look at the other Toro Rosso. Do you know what? I don't think he's going to be getting into P5 anytime soon. But
no, unfortunately. He's still about under a second, but I think that's a tough mountain to climb there with only about a sector to go now.
Well, he's done it. He has made it all the way through this incredibly difficult race. C3s is going to win 3 times in a row, 3 times at the top. C3s is our winner. Joe Breezy, P2 and Be Good Fever looks to be heading towards P3 territory. But look at that, 3 different tracks, 3 very different races, and C3s is still on top. This is definitely his championship to lose this season.
Italian tried to go for P5, but he missed out. And actually, Italian falls down to P7th due to time penalties. P8th!
Is it going to be P9? No. Jones will be the final finisher in P10. But fatal though, driver of the day for me, driving from 16th to 5th. Brilliant drive for
I would agree with that. At one point, I think he was battling for 3rd in these conditions. But that move for Be Good, Motorcycle Saint, and Fatal, they were towards the back in like 8th or 9th. And they were able to do that because they stayed on the mediums further along while everyone else was switched on to the mediums after their softs. And so they just went from the mediums to the intermediates and maintain, and they were able to get in those positions. So great run for Fatal, Motorcycle Saint, Portis. It's also for GT. GT started near the pack, back at the pack as well.
We'll run through the non-finishers in a moment, but I can tell you, Iroll dramatically on the final lap is out of the race, and that is obviously sad to see that. But first, we have to celebrate the winner in a very, very difficult race. I think, to be honest, we wouldn't have done much better in that situation, would we?
No, 3 in a row, you can't beat that. Normally, if that's happened to a gold or silver class, it's like, well, it's time to move them up, but what do you do when you're at the top?
Comms box. Bring your team reverse. 3 race ban. 2 Americans and a Canadian on the podium. C3's wins ahead of Joe, the reigning champion, and Be Good Fever, the Canadian, showing off that he is still there, and he's still got a chance in this championship if he's lucky.
Yes, but great run by C3's.
Yeah, he's got to take next week off, isn't he? So, barring any serious investigations, these are the championship the finishing results. C3's in P1 ahead of Breezy in P2, Be Good Fever finishing out in P3. Mr. Psycho San is in P4, Fatal is in P5, Porridge is in P6, Lion is in P7, Talon is in P8, and Bad Faz in P9. Jones rounding out being the final finisher and having the final point in P10. The non-finishers were a lot of Canadians. Iroll in P11. Iroll, Go-To Guy, Double A, the Canadian, Hungarian, Hotbread, Giant, Johnson, Alex, and Professional. Still, with possibly the biggest crash ever.
Yeah, tough break for the Red Bulls. There was nothing Professional can do, unfortunately for him. Just drive right through that, had no idea.
It's such a shame, but nonetheless, he's already put the video up on YouTube. Well, to be fair, he didn't have much to do. So before we have a chat about the end of the race, let's have a look at the winning car that I always bring up on the stream. Really just sucks because it's always been the same car for the last few weeks, isn't it? So there he is. It is back on the stream now. The Toro Rosso, as we often see it in all its glory. What a race that was. It was a really great Grand Prix, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. It was, yes. Very action-packed and a lot of surprise and some hurt feelings, but that's what happens at Spa. So it's a very demanding track. I
wonder, though, how do you think Giant Johnson could have done in those wet conditions? Do you think he could have been up there, or do you think he just was a little bit too far?
I don't know. I like to think so. He's a fast driver, but I think in the end, I think he just found himself in a lot of bad situations, especially this last 2 races. But who knows? Next week it can be completely different. He'll probably be back at the top. Well, you'll never know.
Who knows? Well, we've only got 1 week to find out, and that will be Silverstone next week. My favourite Grand Prix track. I love that track. Are you looking forward to racing at Silverstone?
I am. It's one of my favorites as well. I like going through the first few corners there in that high-speed turning section, and then of course Eckes and Beckett's, and looking forward to those as well.
You will have next week me just sitting there going, I've marshalled there, I've marshalled there, I've marshalled there, I've crashed the car there. But yes, well, there's nothing else but to say. Join us next week in TCR. Make sure you follow the link in the description after the stream is all linked and processed, and upload it to the Fanatec website. It really supports the league and everything else, and it helps out the owners of the league to give us such a fun and exciting place to race. Next stream will be on Tuesday for the Golden Class division. Then Wednesday for the Silver Class. Silver Class. Yes, you're right. Silver Class on Tuesday. I'm very tired. Silver Class on Tuesday. They'll be having their first runs at the British circuit. Then we can look at the Golden Class, where I believe you'll be racing, won't you? In your very shiny car.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Take a look on Wednesday if you want to see what Dr. Dre here has been up to, and then you can join us for the final race at Silverstone on Thursday night, where I'll be back hopefully with you, Dre. Unless you pull something cool for me tomorrow.
No, I should be back.
Don't hurt yourself on your cocktails.
Okay, thank you. It's been a pleasure commentating with you.
As always, it's always been a pleasure. My name's Yobi. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time for the Platinum Class race. Have a very good weekend, and I will see you next week. Ta-ra, guys!